NWA Podcast. Just would like to let you know that indie wrestling show is brought to you in association with the Babyface app, available on the Google Store and the Apple Store. Now, what is the Babyface app? Well, if you're a British wrestling fan, it is the only thing that matters. Want to check out what the latest shows are in your area? The Babyface app can do that. Want to check out the win-loss record for your favourite wrestler at the moment? The Babyface app can do that. Do you want to bring back the glory that was the Origin Banter Edition? Sadly, Babyface haven't got that kind of sorted out yet. Imagine it's in the beta stage, I can be assured. But if you want to check out any of their matches from Progress or anywhere else past, you can check it out at the Babyface app. Also, you can read loads of articles from loads of esteemed wrestling personnel, including ourselves, TWM. You can check out all of our BritWres articles in one easy place. That is the Babyface app on the Google Play Store and Apple Store. I am Matty Deller and welcome to the Indie Wrestling Show, bringing you the world of graps that is at your doorstep, covering all things to the UK, USA and around the world. If you're a fan of indie wrestling, particularly in the UK, why not check out the Babyface app, available on Apple and Google Play Store. Go and get it right now, and you can check out some articles from TWM Wrestling. Speaking of which, TWM Podcasts is available in all the usual places, Apple and Google Podcasts, like the Babyface app, but the app version, not the podcast version. Spotify, Stitcher, Acast, TuneIn, Podbean, YouTube, wherever else you enjoy your podcasting needs. Also, if you're in the market for wrestling swag, squaredcirclebox.com. Use the code TWMNews for 10% off your first order at squaredcirclebox.com. I am Matty Deller, and joining me are my two independent wrestling chums. They are lovely people. Me and Mike were just discussing Chuck Taylor for the last 10 minutes, whereas Kyle, we thought we were waiting for him, and Kyle thought we were waiting for us. These things happen because we are all incredible. Actually, no, Kyle was the only one waiting. Me and Mike were literally dicking around. But anyway, Mike's here.
Hi.
Kyle is also here.
Just call me Camille.
Is this right? You've watched the latest NWA Powerr. You've got a bit excited, and now you are taking the part of Camille in this podcast.
I am your favourite selective mute.
Which is always great on an audio platform to have a selective mute. Let's see what things Carl reacts to throughout this podcast. So we might as well start off and have a little chat about the week in televised independent wrestling, starting off with some Major League. This week's Fusion started off with old Mansa, and he cuts a promo about him and Jimmy wrestling for a long time. Yes, they have. He brings up Priscilla Kelly and talks about Havoc going to the pay window and their upcoming barbed wire match, because I do believe at this point it is a like a legal requirement by the Athletic Commission, whatever MLW are based at the moment. I think they're in Texas at the moment, where they have to have, not at Texas, they're in New York at the moment.
They're in New York.
The New York State Athletic Commission demands that they have Mance Warren and Jimmy Havoc on a show in some form or fashion, each one. We did find out that apparently if you listen to the latest episode, Tuesday Night Jaw, sorry, spoilers for this one, that Jimmy Havoc's only got a few dates left for MLW, and he's finished up with them. So I imagine the barbed wire matches the fairly well for old Jimothy Havoc. We then get Tom Lawler cutting a promo calling the Von Erichs dumbasses, and I've got to say, Mike, he is getting a lot of heat.
Yeah, but he's deserving of it, if that makes sense. He's earning it.
And then he calls Marshall and Ross not real Von Erichs, and then introduces someone from the loins of Lance Von Erich. And if you've watched the world-class documentary of a history of the Von Erichs, you'll know that's not a proper Von Erich.
He is really he's the realest of Von Erichs.
It's him and Lacey. They the two greatest Von Erichs.
Von Erich diamond.
Here's Rip Von Erich, and I wrote down he looks like someone's dad.
Cool Dad Don Crenshaw.
He is Cool Dad Don Crenshaw. It's a spirit, don't tell your mom. Tom Lawler beats Cool Dad Don Crenshaw. overpowers him with the airplane spin and a rear naked choke for the win. Then we get...
Can I just point out how much I love Tom Lawler's shorts? Just a leopard print shorts. They're beautiful.
Oh, okay. Nice aesthetic choice from Lawler there. Lawler celebrates like a goon. My favourite part of this is when the ring announcer comes in, he's like, come over here, Joe Rogan.
It's almost like he's doing some like amnesia gimmick and he still thinks he's in the UFC.
He's gone full Rockstar Spud from about 4 years ago. He thinks it's 2008 again. Told us he was undefeated against the Von Erichs and called them Hawaiian hillbillies. The actual Von Erichs come out and they got jumped by the pissing Spirit Squad.
Yes.
For
what the world we live in.
For the love of God, if the Spirit Squad are the new Team Filthy, this is all worth it.
Yeah, like full on in the Reebok uniforms and everything. That's what needs to happen.
Just one full MMA fighter.
Full MMA fighter cheerleaders.
Mike Mondo to be the best. We then see a recap of Strong Hearts get attacked by Contra Unit, and all I'm just thinking of is just poor Irie. He doesn't deserve this.
Yeah.
Richard Holiday and Alexander Hammerstone are on a roof talking about Gino Medina, and now we become the newest member of the dynasty. Selena De La Renta joined them, and they said there was nothing that they could give Gino that she couldn't, and then Hammerstone accuses her of cock blocking them both.
Hammerstone does have a way with it that he almost shouldn't have.
It's amazing. Also, he's very, very good at Hulk Hogan memes. It looks like online.
His Twitter account is definitely worth a follow.
Then we get Alicia Atoot. Is it Atoot? Yeah, Atoot. Interviewing Davey Boy Smith Jr. We should ask our Camille. Is it a tout or is it a toot, Kyle?
I believe her name is Alicia A. Stubhub.
Alicia A. Twickets.
No, because that would mean they're ethical.
Alicia a dice app. She interviewed Davey Boy Smith Jr. Kyle, sorry, that really tickled me. You called her Alicia a Stubhub. That had no right to be that funny. She asked him who the true power in MLW was between him and Hammerstone, and then Smith gives like the most Davey Boy Jr. Smith response, which basically just goes into an in-depth like analysis of him and Hammerstone. Well, he's more powerful, but I have the technical and submission skills, and then when the fatigue sets in after a long match, I'm gonna make Hammerstone piss himself when I put him in a submission. It
was a bit like watching a Davey Boy Smith promo and a Bret Hart promo at the same time.
Them talking over the top of one another, and then someone shouts out how bizarre they are. We get Davey Boy Smith over Alexander Hammerstone. Yay! MJF's on commentary.
Here we go again.
He's just being a knob for no reason other than to amuse himself. Purely possibly because he's only got a few dates left on his MLW contract.
Correct.
Smith was in control, but then Holiday grabbed the leg of Hammerstone and hits a big old bicycle and works the back of Davey Boy on the barricade. Hammerstone in control, big drop kick, and then I love this is just MJF just turns to AJ Kirsch and just goes, "Hey, was that drop kick tough enough for you, AJ? Was it tough enough?" I'm like, so unnecessary.
I like the fact that he didn't just say it, he had to grab his arm and then literally look him in the eye and tell him.
It's great. Davey Boy Smith dogs up, forearms, 10 punch, back drop, big boot, leg drop, rolling German suplexes, all for a near fall. Crossface, but Holiday causes the distraction. We get a malfunction at the Junction by Dynasty. Power slam, headbutt from the top for the win. Davey Boy Smith is winning the Opera Cup, whether he wants to or not.
The power slam and headbutt looked awful.
Yeah, I don't like the headbutt. Looks so shit.
Yeah.
Like, it just, like, if you don't just do the power slam, just do the power slam.
Doing damage to his knees, doing it the way
it's the old Tamina headbutt. Davey Boy Smith offers his hand to Hammerstone. He goes for it, but Holiday just goes, no, we are bad people. Brian Pillman Jr. was then interviewed by Alicia, a StubHub. I can't think of any more ticket companies that resell tickets.
Viagogo.
There we go. Alicia Viagogo, about his Opera Cup match against Timothy Thatcher next week, and talks about being the underdog. But it's interrupted by Kota Brazil, and then Brazil basically saying he's fed up with everything, being about the Hart Foundation. He said that Injustice were undefeated, and he also warned that with the alternates, so you might not make it to next week's semi-final. That would be really unfair, but really hilarious if they just took Pillman out of the semi-final or final and replaced him. I swear an alternate is usually just for the first round, not for the semi-final.
Depends. Like, it works both ways. I've seen it operate where literally somebody's been injured in a semi-final and won, and somebody's just gone in on the final, won a tournament. It happens.
Disgusting. Joseph Samuel warned everyone that you'll never see them coming. Kinky. They called out the Hart Foundation, said the Strong Hearts will also find out that they should not mess with the global dealers in violence. Also, we have Eric Stevens. I've heard of him on Twitter. I know he used to wrestle in ROH. He was in Eddie Edwards' shitty faction. I know that. Was it No Remorse? No, Roddy's. Was it Roddy's shitty faction? No Remorse Corps. Was it?
I think Roddy had shitty little boots.
Yeah, he had a shitty little boots, and Eddie had a shitty little faction. And his theme song was in a meme, so I know that. Low-key got a hype video. Well, the thing is, if you write down low-key hype video, it sounds like it's just like really under the radar. In case you didn't know how good low-key was. Contra goes over the Strong Hearts. My first was, look at Irie, happy little murder Teddy.
He's happy murder Winnie the Pooh, isn't he?
It's just, I generally miss him. Like, I don't know how much you guys miss him. Mike, do you miss him?
He told me that he loved me whilst jumping off the top rope. How can I not miss him?
Kyle, do you miss Irie in our lives?
Not from Ireland, -10.
Well, he wears green. That's kind of Irish.
No, you're just stereotyping.
Well, Shima and Gotch start. Shima hits a trap drop kick and it looked really nasty because Gotch's head was like trapped between the ropes. Contra work over Gotch and then Contra work over El Lindemann. Lindemann keeps trying to slam Jacob for two because he is alternate universe Tyler Bate. Gets the tag Irie, who runs wild, does the pile driver onto another person spot, which looks really, really cool. They break into a big brawl. Jacob Fatu, it's a spinning Uranagi, handspring moonsault, but then he Trent Sevens the ring post, so Irie and Fatu do some dives together. Strong Hearts work over Fatu. El Lindemann hitting a German on Fatu for a near fall, but then Fatu super kicks Irie, pop-up Samoan and a moonsault on Shima for the win. It was a really good match. Really enjoyable.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a good primer for the Shima and Jacob Fatu match in February as well.
Yes, indeed. Backstage, Tom Lawler had a message for the Von Erichs. He said they were too dumb, stupid, and idiotic to see what's coming next. He challenged them to face his 2 star students next week and put their belts on the line. For the love of God, please let it be the Spirit Squad. I'm
almost certain it is, but before we move on, going back to last week's episode, the fact that, like, as the train was pulling away and Tom Lawler giving him the middle finger, I forgot to mention.
Oh, yeah.
Just the best.
That was really, really funny. Heel Tom Lawler, good. Him with the Spirit Squad, better. Power! Starts off with Joe Galley interviewing Tim Storm about the NWA Television Championship, the tournament that's going to happen. And we're going to rush through this because we all want to talk about what happened at the end because it was amazing. Storm said he'd be proud to represent the NWA as a champion. He finally explained the tournament. After weeks of matches that we thought were first round matches are all qualifying matches for the actual tournament because there's 6 people from the actual roster, and then there's 2 open invites into the bracket. I want Tanker. Who do you want, Mike?
Well, if we're going to have Tanker, I want Buffalo.
Okay, Kyle? Does Kyle want anyone?
Could you repeat the question, please, sir?
I said they've got 2 open invites in the TV title tournament. I want Tatanka. Mike wants Buffalo, so I'm guessing that's Mantar. Who do you want in the tournament?
I want the producer to actually wrestle Crimson.
Oh, yeah, you've been banging on about wanting... Ever since you found out Crimson been working backstage, I think we get a message every week from Carl before he watches NWA. Before I ask, has Crimson wrestled this week? Generally, I'm imagining you've got some sort of, like, spreadsheet at home, and you're like, week 12,
no, I've got a JTG
Crimson.
countdown clock.
Just sitting there.
Like, has Crimson wrestled yet? No.
Please start that Twitter account. Has Crimson wrestled for the NWA yet?
I'm waiting and I'm becoming impatient.
Tim Storm talks about Nick Aldis last week and says what he did made things personal, which brings out Kyle. Sorry, Camille.
I knew you were going to say that.
Camille. Do you, like? I'm pretty sure. I was about to say. Do you hang around in tight dresses with Bram? I don't know. I don't see you all the time, Kyle. So I'm not sure. She grabs the microphone, but Tim Storm is not done, and he calls Nick Aldis a coward. Kyle Emile responds with a big slap and walks away.
She is my favourite selective mute, and I stan her.
What about the question mark? Is he a selective mute, or is he just doesn't speak English? Or both?
I think it's just a language barrier.
We get the final two qualifiers drawn for the TV title tournament as Zayn. I wrote down Dave. I don't know if it's Dave Dawson or it's someone else. I can't remember.
I think it's Dave.
Because Dave Dawson just doesn't sound like a darts player rather than a wrestler.
For some reason, I keep thinking Danny Dawson, but like I know that's wrong.
Hello, I'm Dave.
I'll wait for the day Scott Dawson appears.
He is their he is the brother don't talk about because he's the successful one. They'll face off as well as Trevor Murdoch facing Tom Latimer down the line. We then get a qualifier, NWA to the NWA television title tournament, where it's Zicky Dice defeating Caleb Connolly, and then again another great message from Carl. And Carl was like, "How long's been Caleb Connolly been with the company?" And we're like, "Since the first week, Carl. They just don't use him that often. He's been on like week 1, week 5, and then now, literally that's it." He's a job guy, which is a shame because Caleb Connolly is actually really good.
I wouldn't even say he's a job guy. I think he's the not really the definition, but he's more of closer to the word of an enhancement guy.
He is proper ET enhancement talent.
Connolly aimed for quick pins due to the short time limit and dominated things until Dice caught a dive from Caleb Connolly into a Northern Light suplex. Dice missed a cannonball and let Connolly back into the match, but a missed moonsault allowed Dice to pick up the win with the snake rattle and roll neck breaker. So Zicky Dice is in the tournament. Joe Galley then Joe Galley spoke to the NWA national champion Aaron Stevens and the question mark. Woo! Stevens talked about bringing the question mark to this country and teaching him in ways while dripping in swag is the question mark in a robe, the mask, and shades over the mask.
Right, surely that robe is just the old Damien Sandown one.
They just dyed it.
It's exactly the same.
They just dyed it black.
The only way the question mark could have looked even cooler, I'm not sure if you guys will remember that time Shia LaBeouf walked the red carpet wearing a paper bag that said, "I'm not famous."
I do remember this. What, you said if you wore one saying, "I am not from Monrovia"?
He would not turn his back on his country.
He wore an exclamation mark just to prove he's that much of an enigma. Just to mess with everyone's head.
Remember when Enigma was on Gladiators? Kind of like someone else from the NWA?
Yeah, no, I ended up texting my friend. They were doing a podcast about that. They're like, has any gladiators been wrestlers? And I was like, oh, but yeah, Oblivion's the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Never forget Oblivion. They spoke about him teaching him his ways, like he's taught him Mongrovian karate, and they talk about wanting all the gold. I really hope they do actually just give them all the time belts. It would be the best thing ever.
It'd be the best.
I want the question mark to win the TV title and then ask Aaron Stevens what TV is, because they do not have it in Monrovia. What is TV?
I'm waiting for them to win that title, and then they just decide that they're the tag champions because they both got a belt.
We are the unofficial Mongrovian tag team champions. Yeah. We then get Thunder Rosa defeating ODB. This was really good. Really good match.
Yeah.
Yes. It was.
They
correct.
beat the crap out of each other. So they just batter each other blow for blow. Thunder Rosa fought back with a drop toe on and the old boss man attack. And then Rosa gets caught on a crossbody, which leads to a big ODB fall-away slam. A missed middle rope Thesz press brings Thunder Rosa back into it, and then a backstabber followed by a double stomp gave Thunder Rosa a win. Really quick match, but really good, really hard-hitting. Definitely go check it out. Joe Galley then introduces Nick Aldis to a chorus of boos, and Galley asks about Camille and Tim Storm, which both questions get batted away by Aldis. He brings up Ricky Morton and discusses the wild cards getting another shot at the tag team titles. Then he talks about his opponent Ricky Starks, said he could beat him in under 6 minutes. He also says that he is good at the sex, which is good to know.
That's what he said.
Yeah, because he goes all night long. By the way, then he posted about that when he quote tweeted the NWA talking about that with just a gif of Lionel Richie, which amused me greatly. You can see that in the podcast post. So we then get this exhibition match, Nick Aldis and Ricky Starks. This was really, really fun. I straight away, did anyone else immediately guess they were going to do the old time limit draw?
Yeah, they had to. There was no other thing they could have done, really.
Yeah.
I thought that they could have possibly gone for the last 3-second cover and then either kick out just before the time limit or the time limit just before the hand goes down.
Yeah, so it would be something like that. Like, it was going to, like, the way it did it was actually really, really nice, but they could have done it anyway, but we all knew it was going to be a time limit draw.
I enjoy the resiliency.
Yes, it made Ricky Starks look like a big deal, which is great. He got the best of Aldis early on, but a big suplex and the champion switched it up, and then Aldis worked over Starks for the remainder of a match until Starks got in a very lovely sling blade, and then Aldis struggled to deal with the speed, but then a missed moonsault tweaked Starks' knee, and Aldis licked in the Kinsling Cloverleaf, and Starks held on but managed to outlast the time limit. And then Grandad turned up. Here comes Ricky Morton, not doing any destroyers, so what's the fucking point? He's demanding that Ricky Starks gets 5 more minutes, and Aldis just goes, nah fam, he was saved by the bell, I was about to win.
That's what he should have done. Like, why would you not do that, especially as a heel as well?
Also, I loved Ricky Morton coming out and going, give the kid 5 more minutes, he's on the floor holding his knee. Like, the man could be crippled, Morton, this is not the time. So Ricky Morton then goes, well, business for myself, I want 5 more minutes, and Aldis just goes, no, fuck off, go away.
I want to raise a point to both of you.
Yes.
Does Nick Aldis, like heel work, remind you of Eddie Dennis? Does things on his terms the way that he wants?
They are very similar. I would say there are shades. I don't think one influences the other. I feel like they just have a very, very similar stuff.
It's the logical heel kind of dynamic.
They both take very similar to kind of a bit Flairish, but Flair was never really the cowardly heel. I'm trying to think of someone who would be a world champion, who would be like the smart dresser, but is like, I'll wrestle on my time. But you know what? And this is a weird one to say. Very similar to Jeff Jarrett in the TNA days. It'd be something similar to that.
Yeah. That's
very classic southern wrestling style heel.
I look forward to the day that one of them calls themselves the King of the Mountain.
Breaks 1,000 guitars. Never drew a dime. They then also says nah fam to the wild cards in the main events. That means the wild cards will be going to the bottom pay window. Or if they get pulled for a match, do they go to any pay window?
Don't know. I think the check bounces.
Can someone please message Vance Warner and ask them, if you get pulled from a match, what pay window do you go to? I imagine is there a 4th pay window for no shows? It's like a sewer.
No, it's the 4th window where you pick up your drive-through order.
Like you have to go to McDonald's to pick up your order, pick up your pay window. If we open a wrestling company, I want all of our pay to be done via drive-through. We can never understand the speaker. We're like, can I get my pay, please? Sorry, pay machine broke.
I've got a lot of expertise, so you know that I would be the one in charge of that.
We should ask Evolve or Rev Pro. It's funny because we know someone where they didn't get paid, but then they did. Lol. And then we get James Storm, Eli Drake over Colt Cabana and Ken Anderson. I am loving this story of Colt Cabana being the only one that doesn't realise that Ken Anderson's a prick.
He just likes to see the good. Then again, think of who one of his best friends was for years.
Yeah, damn you, Ace Steel.
Chaotic neutral Colt Cabana is the day I am waiting for.
I would like them to have heel Colt Cabana, but I don't think they ever will, because he's just too nice, apparently. They tried it in Ring of Honor, it just didn't work. Eli Drake and Colt Cabana start off with Drake getting the best of it. Both men tag out, and then James Storm takes control with the big head scissors on Ken Anderson, but then he pulls the hair to take control, and them two work over Storm. Drake gets the tag, bats the fight out from underneath Cabana and Anderson. Storm gets taken out by Anderson because he goes for the super kick, and Anderson just swings his leg into the steps. Cabana goes for Superman pin, only gets a 2. Anderson just loses his rag and grabs the referee, which causes the disqualification. Now, let's get to the bit that we were all happy about. Strictly Business appear in their lovely, lovely tracksuits.
Not as nice as the Bullet Club tracksuits.
No, they are not. Gino Gambino's meshing oldest lost one of them as well.
He's like, look, I can't get a Bullet Club one. Can I get a Strictly Business one?
Did you see the T-shirt that Gino Gambino's released?
No.
He's released a T-shirt that just says "Fuck you, Gino," because that's all the tweets he was getting online from Wrestle Kingdom. Oh, bless him. Yeah, and then Chris Charlton fired back with, "You should have released one said I joined the Bullet Club and all I got was this lousy tracksuit, but with the last bit crossed out." That boy, our boy Chris Charlton, has been on fire in the last 4 days.
Absolute banter.
He is the banter clause. He's the Archbishop of Banterbury. Nicola says he has the power to remove the wild cards from that match because it wasn't in their best interest. He calls out the Rock and Roll Express and challenges them to a 6-man tag team match. Player, if Morton's team wins, Grandad gets an NWA title shot. Morton agrees, but he goes, no, you cheeky boy. I will not be in the match, and neither will you. I've got the wild cards, and who's the third man, brother? Kyle, tell us who the third man was for Nick Aldis' team.
Well, we need sway jars because it's Scott fucking Steiner. What?
I'm so happy that there was no spoilers released for NWA Powerr, because genuinely, I lost my shit when I saw Scott Steiner come out.
It's just one of those names that you're just like, wow, is this really happening?
Is this?
I know that
I'm not shocked
trios, though, that Jordan and Petey are just watching this episode being like, well, not our problem anymore.
Also, they're letting Scott Steiner in a wrestling ring with 2 50-year-old men.
But he is, he's got to be in his 50s now.
Yeah, but he's not as old as the Rock and Roll Express.
God, the age in this match, guys, is going to be higher than our combined life expectancy.
It's also Royce Isaacs, Thomas Latimer, and Scott Steiner in a team. How is Scott Steiner the lesser of 3 evils here?
But the nickname Wildcard really does suit them.
It really, really does. By the way, I don't think Royce Isaacs has ever done anything. He just looks a bit like a wrong'un. It's the moustache. It puts me off.
Yeah, it's like Peter Avalon's moustache. Yeah. Something unsettling about it.
It's a bit creepy. But you're not going to say any more.
It's just the next door neighbour you don't answer the door to.
Exactly.
Or in America, it's the one that knocks the door because it has a very specific amount of information it needs to tell you. And I'm not going to say anything else than that because I don't want to get in trouble. Let's move on. This podcast, and indeed all TWM podcasts, are brought to you by SquaredCircleBox.com, the only place for your monthly wrestling box needs. With things from superstars from WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, British Wrestling, Independent Wrestling, and loads more, it is the only place that matters if you want to get the best wrestling swag for a low, low price. That low, low price is just £25, people. What a bargain! And you can get snapbacks, t-shirts, magazines, DVDs, trinkets, whatchamacallit, doodads, you name it, they have it each and every month. And just because you listen to TWM, you sexy, sexy people, you get 10% off your first order. All you got to do is use the code TWM News in the checkout. Just use the code TWM News in the checkout for 10% off your first order at SquaredCircleBox.com.
Not spread? I said, why not spread the gospel of the TWM squad with some of our lovely merch over at Teespring? We have t-shirts for all shapes and sizes, hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and loads more. Also, just for listening to this podcast, you can get 10% off your order. I said using the code podcast. That's podcast. Once again, podcast in the checkout for 10% off at teespring.com/stores/TWM-wrestling-merch. That's right. Praise. Testify.
It's time for the most fun time of the year. It's post Wrestle Kingdom, so it's time for some New Japan admin.
Matty, it's New Japan.
New Japan admin. First of all, we got to start off with one of the other New Japan dads is retiring. Manabu Nakanishi decided to wait till literally the day after Liger retired to be like, yeah, I'm going. it's basically, this seems like the wrestling equivalent of, when you see like your best mate leave a house party. Yeah, I'm going to go as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go now.
Liger's gone, it's not as fun anymore. Like, Liger brought the shots and I'm going to go. Like, Nakanishi's retiring on February 22nd, a special retirement event at Kurikan. He said his contract's already expired, actually. It expired at the end of January, sorry.
Expires the end of January, but they're extending it through to the 22nd of February. So, like, that's a really nice gesture. The fact that they're going to pay him for an extra 3 weeks just to have a retirement ceremony for him.
I forgot that he had a really bad neck injury a few years ago. It's like,
that's what it is. That's become really bad for him as well at the moment. So, it makes sense.
It does make sense.
He's an old guy.
They've also released the card for Fantasticamania. I'm going to watch some of these because I'm actually genuinely intrigued.
I'm looking forward to the dads and lads tag tournament.
Don't call it that because you're going to get a reaction out of Kyle.
Hey, there's not going to be any dad fuck lads with these boys.
I was going to say, is this match ending up on Tumblr?
Not with these ones because it's literally dads and their lads. It's not dads and other people's lads because otherwise this is problematic at best.
Well, wrestling's been problematic enough this week. Why not create
this week? Just this week. You've got a whole bunch of people. You've got Okamura doing his 25th anniversary. Is it 25th anniversary match thing?
Yeah, I think so.
You got him. You got Barbaro Cannavaro. Cannavaro. Yeah, the Italian tenor bag. Barbaro Cavanario over as well.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Christico Stuka Jr. Flyers over. Get in. Flyers over.
My favourite luchador, Flyer.
I'm intrigued because there's a whole bunch of ones that I've never really seen.
Nebula Roja is really good.
I remember seeing Angel de Oro was as far as I can remember, he used to be a mini because this is where I put myself over a little bit. In a previous life, I used to do the English commentary for CMLL, and I used to commentate a lot on Angel de Oro's matches, and I'm pretty sure he used to be a mini, or he was on the main shows. But I'm fairly certain he was a mini when he was a lot younger, and obviously he's now filled out, so therefore he's wrestling in the main on the main card and stuff. So you got Negro Casas and Tiger. I'm hoping that's not the actual line. He's just dressed in stuff from that shop. But
no, it's Liger. He's making a comeback already.
Oh, finally!
When you said it, I thought it was going to be Kylie Jenner's ex-Tiger.
Yeah, it's going to be him. Just a straight up, just shitty hip hop gimmick. You got loads of. You got Sanson. I've never seen him before.
Guerrero Maya Jr. is really good.
Yeah, I've seen Guerrero Maya Jr. stuff. They've got the tag team tournament final. They've got a third place match in that as well. The tag team family tournament final, rather.
Like I say, it's only 4 teams in it.
Yeah, but that's only the father-son picnic they have left.
If we've discovered anything recently, it's that New Japan love third places.
They do. They seem to be a big fan of third place playoffs.
Well, they're bound to do a third place playoff in the G1.
I want to know who Dolce Gardenier is, and I really hope he's like a gardener gimmick.
He's the gardening version of Los Ice Cream.
We've got the Black Cat Memorial match as well, and the CML World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Kojima's going up against Ultimo Guerrero. I do love that in Mexico and Japan, it's just wrestlers go on for ages. Ultimo Guerrero's been around for legitimately, I think, 400 years at this point.
He is actually the ultimate warrior.
Oh, Jesus. We got the World...
Well, that's what his name translates to.
We've got the... I know, but you know what you did. You got the World Historic Middleweight Championship, Caristico against Barbaro Cavanario.
That's a match that definitely just anybody search out because it'll be insane.
The six-man tag team championship should be good as well because it's got Titan and Angel de Oro on it as well.
Yeah. Nebula
Roja. I'm intrigued. I'm going to check out the ones that are going to be on New Japan World. They've got a couple of spot shows, and then the live one's this Friday, isn't it, in Osaka?
Yeah, there's one Friday.
And then they got the last one, I think, is shown on New Japan World as well. New Beginning Tour. There's a lot of stuff happening over the next few weeks. They've announced the card. There's one name that sticks out, a big name that shocked a lot of us that he's wrestling on this tour. I can't remember if he's wrestling on...
Chase Owens.
Yeah, it's Chase Owens. I can't believe he's wrestling for New Japan.
I was going to say, I can't believe you talk about El Fantasma like that.
Yeah, I'm shocked El Fantasma was even allowed on the card. Actually, I just realised, I thought he was wrestling on the USA tour. Jeez, he's wrestling on the actual Japanese tour.
Yeah.
So we'll quickly run through the cards and stuff. They got the USA ones are borderline house shows, aren't they? So apart from the last one, I think has got a title match on it. So you've got Clark Connors against Mysterioso. You've got Nagata and Kojima against Alice Coughlin and Arita. Carl Fredericks and TJP against Cabana and Yano. Jeff Cobb against Alex Zane.
Yay! It's going to be fun.
Jesus. Yoshihachi's apparently going to be murdered in America because he's facing Lance Archer.
Yoshihashi dies.
Spoiler.
It's now or never.
And he ain't going to live forever. Yeah, so then you got basically just different combinations of that throughout the rest of the USA card. Kojima versus Jeff Cobb would be really good, actually. I'm intrigued by that match.
Isn't on the last show on the USA tour? I don't know if you've seen this trio of the Rock and Roll Express and Hiroshi Tanahashi tagging against
the Mullet Club.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got them against Clark Connors, Alex Zane, and TJP.
It's a hell of a match.
That looks like the three stages of American Indies. Look at Clark Connors, look at Alex Zane, look at TJP, and literally it's like these are the three. Number one,
it's
number
like
two,
past, present, future.
Yeah, we are the ghosts of American indie wrestling. You got Jeff Cobb against Lance Archer as well on February 1st.
They'll beat the shit out of each other.
That'll be great.
I can see him pushing Lance Archer with these shows quite a lot as well.
Yeah. Then we get to the New Beginning in Sapporo. 2 nights there on February 1st. They've got actually the last US show is on the same day as the first show in Sapporo as well, which is interesting.
It's technically before because of the time difference.
Oh, magic. Well. You've got the Openweight Championship on the line where Goto is eventually going to lose to Shingo Takagi. We know it's going to happen. You've got Ishii versus Evil. You've got the unique team of Okada and John Moxley.
That's... wow.
That's just... yeah. Wow. Against Taichi and Minoru Suzuki. You got Naito and Sanada against Kenta and Jay White. Takahashi and Bushi against Ryu Lee and Robbie Eagles. All of the flips.
Interesting team.
The Dragons of Prey. You got Ospreay, Shoyo, and Taguchi against Zack, Desperado, Kanemaru, and Dookie. Makabe, Honma, Hanare and against Tenzan, Nakanishi, and Tsuji. And then Tiger Mask and New Era against Ishimori and El Phantasmo. On night 2, you've got the singles match between Okada and Taichi. You've got Zack Sabre Jr. defending the British heavyweight title against Will Ospreay. I wouldn't be shocked if Will beat Zack, to be honest.
Well, Will's on the high stakes show next month for Rev Pro, so he could come back with the title for that on Feb 14th.
They've been teasing it as the only thing Will's not done as well.
Yeah, being British heavyweight champion. Then you got the usual raft of 6-man tag match, and then the small matter, Kyle, of El Phantasmo facing a young LA Dojo wrestler by the name of Gabriel Kidd.
Never heard of him.
You may have heard him from previous things as being yeeted onto John Moxley at Wrestle Kingdom. That's, in all seriously, that's insane. isn't it? To like the Gabriel kid. He's not been in the dojo that long, has he?
It's not even but he's in the LA dojo as well. So it's like he's not even on the US shows. Like he's in Japan for it.
Yeah.
I think he went over at the end of the summer, like going into the autumn, and within 4 or 5 months, he's already on a major card.
And it's not even like. If this was like a spot show, like one of the random like rural spot shows, or even one of the shows in America called the LA Dojo, this is the second night of like basically the backlash to New Japan's WrestleMania. So like the pay-per-view after the biggest pay-per-view, and he's on that card. That is mental. Like, and that's great to see. They must like really like him, or Shibata's got bored of kicking him.
They've seen a lot of him in a while. Shibata singled him out.
I was going to say that Shibata just got really bored of kicking him. So he's like, El Fantasmo, you kick him now. And then the main one, February 9th, is the New Beginning in Osaka. So you got the double titles, Naito defending against Kenta. Then you got Moxley. I thought that was going to be on the New Beginning USA shows, but you got Moxley against Suzuki on that show.
No, because of the contract status.
Again, as we said, the forbidden door.
Can't work in America.
It would put him in a mask. Call him Mon Joxley.
Or just Mr. Moxley.
Oh wait, no! Do the Cena route. One Moxley.
I can't believe neither of you came up with Mean Dan Bros.
Mean Dan. Can it be Mean as in the gimmick name and then Dan Bros? Oh, that's...
No, it means he is mean and he's walking around with some damn bros.
Me, I've just got in my head. Hello, my name is Mean Dan Bros. Did this card stack though? You got the Moxley Suzuki match. You got Naito Kenta. Then you got Takahashi defending against Ryu Lee. That's PTSD, the match I've ever seen one.
It'll be fine.
If any point Ryu Lee gets him out for a powerbomb, I demand every young boy rushes the ring and goes, "No, Ryu, not," because you know Takahashi.
Put it down.
Yeah, you know Takahashi will be like, "Let's do it." And I'll be like, no. Calm down, Lynn, you've broken your neck. You got Sonata against Jay White. You got Okada and Ospreay against Taichi and Zack. Then you got a bunch of tag matches. You got junior heavyweight tag titles as well. Sho and Yo defending against Despy and Kanemaru. I hope that Sho and Yo win, because they seem to do that quite a lot. Where we won the World's Wrestling Kingdom, we dropped them the very next month. But yeah, kicking in full earnest, starting off this Friday with Fantasticamania, and then rolling through into the into New Beginning, and we will try and cover as much as we can here on the Indie Wrestling Show. Got a whole bunch of news bits to get through to wrap things up this week, and I'm going to get through this one as quick as physically possible, because there's not really much nice things to say about it. There has been some allegations come out in regards to Rory Gulak, independent professional wrestler, brother of Drew. Nothing's been outright confirmed as of yet. However, Wrestle Factory and Chikara both released statements saying they've cut ties with Rory Gulak over allegations of misconduct. He's been working as a trainer there at the Wrestle Factory and been working regularly with Chikara since 2017. ICW have also removed Gulak from their February 1st Gonzo card, tweeting the removal without giving reason. Obviously, a unverified Twitter account gave reasons why. We're not going to get into them, because just it's not worth it at the current time. Obviously, if you're
smart enough to find this podcast, you're smart enough to go onto Twitter and find it yourself.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone is aware, but we're not going to get into the details.
I was just going to say, interestingly, the statement, supposedly the statement from Chikara came roughly 2 weeks after it actually all went down in Wrestle Factory.
I see. Okay. Something we'll talk about in depth is Ring of Honor. We've got two little bits from Ring of Honor to talk about. We've got Jeff Cobb. He was one of the, I think, 36,000 people that were leaving Ring of Honor after Final Battle. Has now decided, once again, much like a bunch of them, I will stay, but there's no way you're having me on a long-term deal. So he's on a pay-per-play contract. It was up on January 1st, but he chose not to sign a deal with them, which is
frees him up for New Japan, really.
It does as well. Does also frees him up as the first confirmed participant for Bloodsport in WrestleMania weekend.
Yes.
Oh, who could we have Cobb face at Bloodsport? They'll be really, really good.
Killer Cross.
Killer Cross would be really, really good. I'm trying to think of someone.
Basically, anybody that comes up. Just
you know what? Thatcher
or Tom Lawler.
Someone who's got a very strong amateur background. I'm trying to think of people that could... who's really good with an amateur background that's on the indies that's not Zack Sabre Jr.? You know what? Which one of the Rascals has the really big MMA background that did the last one?
No, it's not Trey. Sorry, it's Zach.
Zach. Yeah, he'd be really, really good.
Exactly. Yeah, that could be a good shout, actually.
Also, Ring of Honor have announced a free show. They've gone full PCW, ladies and gentlemen. They've announced a free show, I believe the end of January, start of February,
February.
Which will have the debuts of Australian wrestler Slex, who have heard... I think is he MC Kyle, you're usually on board with a lot of this stuff. If I don't know it, usually Kyle does. Is he MCW in Australia?
He is MCW. Not sure whether he's still holding a title, because much like the end of every Christmas, Adam Brookes holds a title belt, and I'm not sure whose it was.
He holds a title belt in Australia at this current time. But I think Osprey's put him over an awful lot on online and stuff. And the small matter of the debut of Session Moth Martina in Ring of Honor is happening on that show.
Finally,
as well. I might have
remembered they hired her.
Yeah, they went through some papers and realised they'd hired Martina. After listening to the Jimmy Havoc podcast, I'm terrified about her getting on a plane. If you've not listened to that, my word, some of the things they come out with about Martina, fascinating individual. Let's talk about some other little bits going on over the next few weeks. Something that's been announced this week. Breed, they live. They are doing a show on the 28th of March. They could break after all the financial issues surrounding Sarcave, where it had to be moved a few weeks. They're returning with less push things forward, which popped me and Mike because it was a Streets lyric, so both happy with that. At Hex Nightclub in Sheffield. They've announced a few matches. They've announced Session Moth Martina is going to face Gene Money in a no disqualification match.
You mean they're finally going to finish their match?
Yeah, the match that started last year. I believe Big Guns Joe just asked for every small flippy lad they've got. I think he's asked for Luke Jacobs, Ethan Allen, Joe Nelson.
That was Little Joe. Little Joe wants the Young Guns and Farewell.
Oh yeah, that's it. So he wants them, and then Big Joe's. I thought my Joe's mixed up. I think they've not. Big Joe's not asked for an opponent yet. I don't think.
No, but perhaps the biggest confirmation of the whole show.
Oh, poor girl.
After all the drama they've had through the history of Breed, it's Champion's Choice. They get to choose their opponents. Ivy versus Lucy Openshaw, the ring announcer.
Poor Lucy. Like, let's put this out there here. Lucy is generally one of the nicest people on this planet. Ivy is a ginormous women's champion. I really hope Lucy has at least learnt a Canadian destroyer.
Hey, if you've not seen the GIFs or the videos from Fight the Good Fight, Lucy does a Bulldog Stunner kind of move, so I think she's gonna be good.
Just don't no one tell Ivy that she can do that one move. I hope someone helps her. Because I don't really want to see Lucy get yeeted 30 feet into a nightclub, to be honest. Mainly because I want to get her on a TWM Talks in the very near future, and the last thing I really want is to be like, so you're still flying, I hear, after being thrown by Ivy.
Please, can you wait until after this match so that way we can get like first-hand account on versus Ivy?
What, like a weird Crime Watch reenactment, but on a podcast?
Hey, it's on audio form, so it exists.
We don't normally talk about these guys, but they've got a show on Fight, and I'm generally considering watching it. Wrestle Queendom is this weekend. Believe it, is it your call, Red Cow? Probably your call. Either doing this.
One or the other, they're across the road from each other.
And I'm not gonna lie, this card is really stacked. That's why I'm really intrigued to watch it. You got a Rumble, and everyone loves a Rumble. So far,
is it a New Japan Rumble though?
It's not a New Japan Rumble. It's a 15-woman Rumble. So far announced, you've got Jetta, Livy Grace, Shikara, Nightshade, Sky Smithson, Dominita, Aaliyah James, Mercedes Blaze, and Rebel Kinney. I'm happy Jetta's in there because Jetta was one of the first female wrestlers that I genuinely was entertained by. Her, Lacey, and Rain, just generally some of my favourites. You've also got Nordana making her first UK wrestling, in-ring appearance. If you've not heard the name, I think she wrestled a lot in Malaysia, but she's like the first pro wrestler to wear a hijab in-ring. She's wrestling Zoe Lucas, so that'll be a really interesting match. You've got Lana Austin against Yuka Sakazaki. Sorry, I'm not used to saying the name really fast. What, the Sakazaki's in the country?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but wait, but that's not all. You got Killer Kelly against Roxy. You got Ginny versus Nina.
Not Killer Kelly Klein.
Not Killer Kelly Klein, or not Killer Kevin Kelly, or Killer Cross. You've got Ginny versus Nina Samuel. So if you missed NXT UK this week, just watch that. You've got Session Moth Martina against fucking Maki Ito. Ito Respect Army. That's gonna be brilliant.
Yeah.
You got the Eve title match, which is Rhea O'Reilly up against Laura Di Matteo, which is probably going to be the crowning glory of Laura finally winning the belt. And then you got a 3-way elimination match, which is Giselle Shaw and Sami Zayn are the current champions, up against the Medusa Complex, up against the Woke Queens. Did you guys see the video, by the way, of the Woke Queens dancing at Eve this past weekend and Millie McKenzie grabbing the ring announcer and copying them behind their back?
Yes, because it is everything.
It's very funny. Speaking of Sami Zayn, she became OTT Women's Champion for the second time this past weekend. She defeated Katie Harvey at the OTT show, which I forgot the name of. Sticking Out. And then also Adam Maxted, I don't know if you know this, was on Love Island.
Bullshit.
Oh my god. Love Island Australia?
I checked it on Wikipedia, so it must be true. He defeated Mark Haskins to become the new OTT gender neutral champion as well. Fight Club Pro DTT 2020. I don't know if we mentioned this last week. We might not have in our tired state.
No, we didn't.
They've announced the places where they're doing it. The first one shook the world. Generally, it was like, I'm sorry, what? I'm really happy because this place should have been used as a wrestling venue ages ago, because it's a lovely venue, because I know the area very, very well. The Coliseum in Watford is the first one. It's London-centric. It's on the tube, kind of. There's an overground that goes there, so no one really can complain. April 11th is the Hangar in Wolverhampton. April 12th is Academy 1 in Manchester, so the usual two, alongside Watford. The Coliseum on the 10th, making its debut. They've announced 2 teams for it already, and I am happy. I've already got my tickets and sorted out accommodation already, because the 2 teams they've announced are the current Fight Club Pro Tag Team Champions Mustache Mountain and the current Impact Tag Team Champions The North. I'm seeing Ethan Page in person, baby. Woo!
Seen him.
I know you have. You've seen I'm pretty sure you've seen every wrestler.
Just the ones who come over here.
There's luchadors that have just debuted in Mexico yesterday that Kyle's already seen.
Yeah.
Can't be like, I have their baby pictures.
That sounded a lot creepier than it should have.
Yeah.
No, it's because in Mexico, everyone's a junior.
Did you say Rexico?
So that's North Wales, like.
Yeah.
Just those luchadors from Wrexham.
Please say, like, Essex people call Basildon Baz Vegas. You call Wrexham. You call Wrexham. You call Wrexham Rexico. If not, do it now.
But we will now.
Yeah. Some more admin news, this time from IPW, because they've sold the company to Paul Hopkins and his family.
Have they gone under again?
they announced they're not running any more shows. So what they've done is they've done the WWE thing. They've basically bought the library. So they're going to keep the social media and on-demand open, and have not ruled out running shows in the future. If they do, I hope they pay people. See TJP's Twitter for further information. Also, see We the Independent information to see why one of the former owners is a fucking dick that don't pay anyone. Pay your talent, wrestling, for fuck's sake. DDT news, and also sad news if you are Kyle, actually all of us, but specifically Kyle and Victoria, because Chris Brookes has announced that he's moving to Japan for the whole year.
Hang on, why specifically for me? I understand Victoria.
I don't think it's sad news.
Well, sad news if you want to see him in this country for a while.
I was going to say, but why specifically me?
You like Chris Brookes?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why.
But I'm not like Stan level, like Tumblr trash.
No, you're more like a Jeff level for Chris Brookes. I don't know what that meant. So yeah, he's over there for 2019 because he said that Japan's made him a better wrestler. which amuses me because I want to see that and then immediately cut to the thing if we're elephants kicking a ball at it.
Well, we got to ask yourself, could he wrestle elephants before he went to Japan? No.
Yeah.
Made him a better wrestler.
And his final match for the foreseeable will be a Schadenfreude and Friend show in February. But they've announced a new championship in DDT called the Universal Championship. Never heard that before. Where Chris Brookes is going to face Konosuke Takeshita for the newly minted championship. So it looks like they're making a kind of like an intercontinental style belt because Brookes is coming over. So I would imagine that he's going to win that. And finally, news for Wales people. Danny Jones won the New Year Wars Battle Royal at All Japan Pro Wrestling.
More or less.
Yeah,
more or less.
All Japan Pro Wrestling. Danny Jones won the New Year Wars Battle Royal, which is lovely to hear.
Thanks, Mike, for telling me earlier this week.
Well, it's usually a precursor to sort of guys going on and actually having big years, because last year's winner was Jake Lee, who pushed Kenta Miyahara many times this year, and they had an absolute banger of a match on January 3rd. I haven't got a chance to see yet, but I've heard it's fantastic.
Well, when you do,
potentially one of the best matches of the weekend. But yeah, like hopefully that's some big future for him.
Lovely stuff. That's it for this week. If you want to get in touch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at TWM Wrestle. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Acast, TuneIn, YouTube, all that good stuff. Keep an eye on TWM.news. We've got an article on Chris Brookes coming out this week, actually, talking about his impact on the British wrestling scene, as well as loads of stuff as well. You can read the review for the Lost Progress chapter. There'll be a preview coming out very soon for chapter 101 in the next week or two as well. So yeah, keep an eye on TWM.news. I can't talk for that. Michael, social media.
No.
Just no. At no. Kyle.
At Camille Brick.
I'm at Matty ID. We are at TWM Wrestle. This has been the Indie Wrestling Show. Thank you, please. Love you. Farewell.